previously we have defined multiple but simple reports, but that's the point. They have all been very simple, and actually we haven't offered choices to the end users, which is bad because we have just left the parameters as fixed, all those parameters that are important and relevant for the selection of the data. The best example, of course, is just the fiscal year and the periods, because imagine if we don't allow for the user to select those values, then that just means that we would need to create, for example, 12 reports all the same, but just with a different fixed period every time for every report, and we will just end up with 12 reports that are exactly the same for the same fiscal year, but we are just changing the fixed value for the period. That is not great. It's not a good way to design all of this, and also it just might be frustrating for the end users because they cannot select. So well, we will continue and keep building on the reports that we have defined previously, but of course we will allow for the use of what we call variables so that users can select their own values. So let's open information systems, the ad hoc reports, report painter, and here we will start the transaction that we can use to change. So let's double click this one, and well, let's double click the priority report that we have created in the past, the last one. And again, these settings we have them in the data selection, in the general data selection. So let's come here, and we have been saying fiscal year and period is the ones that we want to make right now variable. So for this, we have to set up the variable on of a checkbox for which is the second column, and we will do it for the fiscal year. And for the period, we have two possible values here, right? The from column and the to column. So we will select the checkbox for both the from and to. Now, well, for the fiscal year, we need to set up the name of the variable. So, well, we will use the match code to look for this one. And, well, the ID is like 1, J for Georgia, G for Georgia, J for Jared, AHR, for example. So, here we have it, the fiscal year. So, let's just double click on this one. And well, for the period, actually we need two, one for the from column and the other one for the to column. So let's come here, and we will select the one PERIB. The last digit will be like B for Virginia. So this is the one from period. So now that we have located this one, let's just double click, and now we have the correct value here. And for the next column, for the to column, we want, it's almost the same. It's 1 PERIB, but the B is for Brussels. So let's look for this one. Here we have it, 1 PERIB, 2 period. So let's just double click on this one. We have the correct value now. So let's just check and confirm. Actually, let's just check the overall report. Let's save it, and to actually see what we have accomplished, let's click on execute. Because if you remember, so far, every time the system finishes compiling and just shows the next screen, we have seen just a completely empty screen. But that will be different this time around, because now we will have the actual fields that the user can just use to modify the values that they want to look for. So actually, here we have it. We have the parameter for fiscal year, which is fine with this value, and we have the from period and to period. For example, instead of having a query for the full year, let's just select May. We'll just enter 5 here to use to have May, and with these values, let's run the query. Let's run the report, and the system will have the query correctly set up for us. So, well, it should pop to our attention that we have so many cost elements here, for example, that have no values. But again, that is just if we compare that to the previous lesson. In the previous, we had values for pretty much all of them because the query was for all the year. This time around, it's only for a month, and yes, we have less data. But then again, that is exactly what we want. To focus maybe only in 1 month in this scenario, May. And the most important thing is we're giving the flexibility to the end user to select the actual values for the query. So, well, with this, now we can just quit the report. We now have the general idea on how to use variables, and well, we will keep building. So let's just quit the app for now. And with this, we finish the lesson. Thanking you all.